Hello everyone, and welcome back to another session of Dark Souls 2 PvP and another weapon showcase. This time I am using the Bloodied Whip, which you can get as a drop from the executioners in the Huntsman's Copse. Now, this weapon is one that the majority of people will look at and think it's pretty bad, for the simple fact that it is not as powerful as the old whip in terms of attack rating. But this weapon actually is better than the old whip in a decent number of ways. So getting started, the Bloodied Whip requires 10 strength and 15 dexterity in order to wield. It has a C scaling in dexterity and a D scaling in strength. The physical base damage of the weapon is 250, and the attack rating for me is 369 with a Ring of Blades plus 2, so that is a 319 without one. The counter strength of the weapon is 100, the poise damage of the weapon is 20 per hit, and the weight is 3 units. Now, the biggest pro of this weapon is that it actually is the longest whip. So, whips, for the most part, they do have a very, very good reach to them, and that's great for keeping people away and, just sort of being a little lion tamer and all that, It works. They're very good at that, and the thing is, they all have a very long reach. But when people think that they're out of your reach with this whip, chances are that you can still get them, because most people are used to fighting the old whip, which is actually significantly shorter. So because most people are, sort of trained, for lack of a better term, to be at a certain distance when fighting an old whip, they'll still be within range if you're using this one, which is a good thing. They'll let their guard down, and you can just sort of take advantage of that relatively easily. Some other pros of the weapon: it actually has the highest poise damage of all of the whip class weapons, being 20 poise per hit compared to the standard of 15. It is actually the second most damaging whip, which really isn't saying much, because, of course, the biggest con of the weapon is the damage output. Now, because it is the second most damaging whip, that's a good thing and all, but when you compare it to the old whip, as far as the damage output is concerned, this weapon has over 100, the gap in attack rating is over 100 between this weapon and the old whip. That's a problem. I mean, yes, the old whip breaks in like 12 hits, 15 hits, unless you're wearing the bracing knuckle ring, of course, but when you have such a high attack rating in comparison, it just really overshadows the other weapons in the class and makes them not worth using in a lot of cases. So, there's that. But, back to the pros. Of course, the durability on this weapon is pretty good compared to the old whip, of course, because it doesn't break in like 15 hits. You can actually use this weapon in a fight club compared to the old whip, and, that makes it a little bit more entertaining. Other than that, it's decent when you infuse it, actually. I looked at the infusions briefly for this weapon, and despite the fact that I don't have any stats to take advantage of the infusion type, I don't have any intelligence or faith, you still get nearly 390 attack rating with this thing, and a B scaling in your infusion type. So if you want to infuse this weapon and you have a decent amount of intelligence or faith, or both if you're looking at dark or fire infusions, then it will definitely work very well for you, because without even any stats to wield at 390 attack rating, that's not something I'd complain about. But, of course, that being said, I have to compare it to the old whip. The old whip, without having any, any intelligence or faith, gets nearly 540 attack rating with any infusion type. So, of course, again, as far as the damage output is concerned, it does fall short of the old whip. But, as far as the durability, the reach, and all of that is concerned, it actually outclasses the old whip. So, if you're using whips in a fight club, this is definitely one of the better options if you're going to be there for an extended period of time. Other than that, though, the old whip just wins in every single way. So, that's just the way it goes. Another con for the weapon actually would be the fact that it is the heaviest whip, weighing a grand total of 3 units. Oh boy, it weighs so much, what will we ever do? yeah, really this weapon, it's good and all, but outclassed as far as the damage output is concerned, and I've said that a million times, but that's really all people care about, sadly. I mean, they don't think, oh, I'm going to be, using this weapon for more than 15 hits. I need to be careful. I need to have a weapon with more durability. No. They're like, oh, I have 15 hits to finish off this person when I have an attack rating of 485, which is actually my attack rating with the old whip. Yeah, that's really not a problem for them. So, it is what it is. This video is a little bit rambly and a bit more of a rant about the differences in, the whips. But that's just the way it goes sometimes, I guess. So, anyway. This is the last fight. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Sorry about the rambliness and the repetitiveness, but there's really not much to go on with this weapon, considering it isn't really that unique. So, it is what it is, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.